Alright, got most everything all cleaned off here now. Rack's all cleared. So I'm doing some scraping in this cam cover. Get all this gasket material off of here. Obviously we're going to have to use a new gasket and reshim it and do all kinds of stuff. And I think we're going to be doing some bushing here too. I think that's what the customer said to do a couple weeks back. Last month, whatever the hell it was. Pretty much fix whatever needs to be fixed. That's how most of the deals go down. Within reason. So you know the kind of scraper I use. A real bad spot there. This gives you real good control because you got a nice handle here to turn. So you can rotate side to side like that if you need to. You can hold it real firm and strong. A lot more pressure than a razor blade. It's not as sharp as a razor blade. At least not until you sharpen it. But it'll cut more. Alright, more gasket material. Alright, nice clean bench again. Get that every now and then. So someone here, right here in this gasket area right here, got a little carried away on hitting it with something right here. He's just being hit there is either some dumbass stuffed a screwdriver in there or hit something. Doesn't look like it's screwdriver marks, looks like something hit it. Looks like it was almost cut. Something dropped into it really hard on a flat square edge. Yeah, not sure what that was. Once again, it cuts the gasket sealing surface in half, so not the best, but oh well. At least there's not usually a lot of load right there as a plus. A lot of high spots you're going to have to knock down with a file. That's normal. Alright, that's clean. Ew, I just cleaned that bench. Geez, I cleaned that 3 times already. Still feels like dirt. It's got some rusty area. See, it's kind of rusty through here because for years I didn't use that area. See, the areas you use a lot is clean steel. The areas you don't use much is rust. Even though we keep it wiped down, if you don't use that area very much, it still tarnishes on you. Alright, so we got the case cleaned all up. So I want to get this out of here so I can see what's underneath that. So I don't trust areas like this. They look very... Looks like an area is going to be a problem. So we need to go find the big screwdriver slot. Get that out of there. Big bit. So we go over here and find our big bit department. It looks like a big bit department if it'll fit. If that one don't fit, we use something else. I think this one might work. Let's see, get my impact knocker. Can have that. Adapter right there. Used to have more than one of those, but for some reason they disappear and they come back. Don't know why. It kind of fits in there. A little wide. I've been known to trim this stuff down. This one hasn't been trimmed yet. Okay, we're going to try that one. Hopefully it comes out relatively easily, and hopefully it's tight. We'll see which one it is. Appears to be tight. Not that tight. Tight enough. Okay, so that must be some kind of a copper coat seal or something. I don't know what the hell that crap is. Got a lot of goo on the threads too. Alright, so my guess is there's some kind of a brass screw in that hole. That'd be my guess. It looks like they just brazed it shut. That works too. Alright, well, it's well plugged. That's good. So I'll have to go back and put this back in. I'll put my 3-bond sealer on it this time, because I like it better than whatever this copper stuff is. Alright, one more thing to fix later. Alright. You always want to fix issues when you find them. Okay, so some kind of gooey junk. Yeah. Don't know what it is. It's something. Alright, let's go back and look at the other part. Obviously, I don't want to look at all the stuff right here. I didn't feel like carrying everything back and forth a couple times, so I'll go back here and where the other stuff is at. Ooh, more junk. Alright, look what I found. Clean parts. How'd that happen? It happens every now and then. You find clean parts. Amazing. Here's another one. I already cleaned the rack off twice also. Okay, I decided I'm going to pull this plate off back here because I don't... I'm going to blast this. I can't trust it. I'm going to get that junk all out of there, all the beads. And I don't trust it anyway. I've had these things leak too many times, so screw it. I can either re-goop up the gasket or I can put another one on there if I have to. Okay, so there's your sealing. See how it's dimpled under right here? It's not flat. So that makes this whole area all through here not sealing. So you can see where the, from here out, didn't do anything. You can see right where the shiny spot is here, it was probably hitting. And then you got that area in between right there was kind of hitting. So the silver areas, are the bright shiny areas, are actually sealing. See how this one's way in here? It's kind of weird. This one here got, look, almost right to here is where it's really sealing. Not very much going on that one. So this needs to be beat back flat and put better seal on it. So a lot of times I'll bend these into a kind of a cup shape like this, so that it'll hit on the outside edge here. When you tighten it down, it'll draw in some tension out here on the outside edge. That's why you do it that way. Okay, that was held on with gasket cinch, it looks like. This is one of the spots where I use 3-bond, because gasket cinch does not take up big gaps. It's not made to. And you get big gaps with this gasket and that tin plate, because that tin plate's pretty weak. Make sure the gasket didn't split. Alright, so I think that's reusable. We'll use 3-bond on it next. Actually, we'll modify this new part a little bit and make it better than it was. Oh boy. Alright. Now I got full access to clean all the beads out of here after I blast it. Get some gooey tar-like stuff out of here. Okay, that one's done. Okay, I went ahead and ground the edge here. So now I can't feel any kind of a burr on my finger when I stick it in there. So before it had a ledge that was sticking out. You could actually feel it. Yeah, this one here. Let's see this one. I can still feel this one a little bit here. Yep, catching it here with my finger. Kind of see where I ground on it, but okay, yep, that one's still in there. This one here I got rid of. I feel like there's one right here also, and right there. All right, I failed at doing a good job. I'm gonna have to get something better. Ooh, I get my real dull color. So maybe we have to use something a little different. And let's see, I guess this is the only other one I got that's got an edge I need. I don't want to use this because it gets kind of aggressive, and I can put a groove into the case. I can make a bigger problem than what I started with. We don't want to do that if we can avoid it. It's always bad when you make the problem worse than when you started. Trying to keep the chips out and down there. Okay, so I gotta get a little under here a little bit. First I'm going to try my dull one again. This one's really dull, doesn't cut very much. Just want to knock the high spot off. Cutting very well. Make sure I'm not cutting where I don't want to. Yeah, it's starting to do it. So it's a dull cutter. It takes a lot to do anything. That is intentional, believe me. Much better. Still see all the original rubber mark is in there, machine marks, because I wasn't cutting any of that. I was barely even cutting anything, but that edge right there was beat in is now gone. So now the seal is working there pretty good. That's why I'm using a dull cutter. If I came in here with this nice sharp one, I can knock it out real quick, but I can also do damage quickly also. Speed is not always the answer on these jobs. Okay, so I got that problem fixed there. So after we clean this all up, you can really see how bad these are right here. More crap coming out of the hole. Thought I blew that out real good. Obviously there's still more crap in the hole. You can see how deep that is. It's pretty deep. So these are definitely going to have to be dealt with in some way. So anyway, the rest of the case looks pretty good. So no big deal on anything else I can see. All looks nice. Now that bearing race is pitted. Yep. So see all the rust acid etching in there? See all the rust marks in there? That ain't good. The bad spot part is, what is that? People can see I'm slamming stuff on this table. This is a steel table. It echoes really bad. The pinion shaft right here has heavy acid etching also. Matches everything else. And the worst spot is this first inner bearing area, because that's where it really rubs hard. You can see how it rubs more hard on the outside and on the two outside edges. In the middle here, it's not much. Doesn't wear as much. Just trying not to do that. The rollers are in here. I have to get one later. Yeah, they're real long rollers, and they push side to side. They don't roll evenly. I think it's more the crank flipping around than anything, but anyway. So this shaft here is bad also. So this should be replaced, and the case race there should be replaced. If you don't replace this can fail in 1,000 miles, 2,000 miles, 500 miles, 5,000 miles. We don't know when. You never know. On a crank pin, it will do it in under 1,000, guaranteed. On the main shaft, yeah, it'll go further. Don't know how much further, it'll go further. So this rebuilt crank had a used crank pin put in it. So you want to make sure there's no pitting or anything in there that we can see, or that acid etching. I usually always replace these because this is usually the first part to fail. Why do you put the first part that fails used and the motor is rebuilt? I have no idea. That's why you always replace them. This is the most highly loaded part in the bike, right there, that piece. And this thing was full of grease, as well as all the bearings were full of grease. Cages were full of grease also. And I don't know how long that grease would be before it came out. So I don't know, lubrication-wise, that's not good. But anyway, we got it out. Now the flywheels, I actually cleaned all the puke out of them, so now when you go like this, you don't come up dirty. That finger is already dirty, see? It doesn't come up any dirtier, see? So, there you go. And there's a lot of stuff in the bottom of these holes down here too. You can see how those holes are cleaned out right now. I blew all those out. Had to clean them twice because filled me up full of gray goo when I hit those things. These ones here. Now these are the original balancing holes for Harley put in. The stock Sportster balance factor is pretty good. And what they did was they did a dynamic balance. So this is done statically. This is the inside of the flywheel. It's done when the wheel's like this bare. This is done dynamically, which means it's all put together and it spins balances it. So it's also called spin balancing. The bad part about this is you're putting holes all over the place, and that includes where the timing marks go. So why would you want to put holes right where you got timing marks? That's stupid. So, like I said, I checked these marks before, but I got to make these deeper so you can see them better. So anyway, that's a bad place to put holes, is right where all your timing stuff is. You don't want anything on this side of the flywheel because you're looking for timing marks. You don't want to see a big hole like that come up. You have no idea what those are. Or right here. Okay, is that a balancing hole right there, or is that a timing hole right there? It's hard to tell. You know, there's a line, but that looks like a chisel. It doesn't look like a mark Harley normally uses. So, have to deal with them a little bit. So anyway, I like static balancing. Obviously, these kind of people are using dynamic because that's what they like. I don't think it's nearly as accurate myself, but everybody has a theory. So here's our pump. Looks good. We're looking for gouge marks right through here in the body. It all looks good. Got some. You can see where it has a few run through there, but nothing real deep. Typical used pump. That's all good. Someone put that seal in there. That's supposed to stop wet something, is what they said. Yeah, okay, well, whatever. Whatever you want to do. Early breather. Early pump. It matches. This gasket here blew off, so it's got some issues. Could reuse it. I think it'd be better to use all new gaskets, but yeah, we'll see what the customer wants to do. His decision. This looks okay. Put the spring back in here. It blew out. Cleaned all the junk out that was behind the seal. It was all packed in full of grease and crap. When you pack a seal in there, they don't work very well. So they like to be nice and flexible where they can move around. Bearing cage of the old steel ones rarely wear out. That's why they don't use them anymore. They use aluminum so they wear out. This one's still got a little grease in it, looks like. All this stuff's going to get cleaned at least one more time anyway. These are those new lifters they bought that are loose as a goose. And the blocks, because V-Twin makes undersized rollers, undersized lifters, not rollers, lifters. I don't know if you can tell it's moving or not. It is. This side too. It's hard to show it with one hand, but it's moving, believe me. So one way to fix that is buy a 5/0 lifter and hone the block to fit, which will be about 2 thou bigger than stock, because those are undersized. So if you buy 2/0 lifters, they probably fit perfect because they're made 2 under. That's assuming you can buy a 2 under. So anyway, nice cheap ports, made wrong. What a shocker. Alright, that's all good to go. Like I said, here's these rods. I have to check the fit on these pin bushings, see if I like them. If I don't like them, I'm going to change them. This has to be re-honed. You can see how rough the finish is. Oh well. Here's the cams. Nice set of black new P-cams. Really, really nice. For being 40 years old, they look real, real good. If they're 2 weeks old, they still look pretty good. For used part, they're pretty nice. Okay, this is our bearing that goes in here. So you want to push that all in and make sure you got clearance under there. If this bottoms out against this shoulder here, it's loose. I don't care if the nut's tight, it's loose. It'll come out. I just had one customer ask about that. See how tight that is? That's a wedge. You twist in like that. It's a taper. It'll lock it. If it's a good tight fit, it'll work. If it's a crappy taper, it won't do that, see? It's a good taper. That means that matches that real nice. That's what's nice about a taper. They wedge in hard. Now if you put a couple 100 pounds of pressure on it, you can see how hard it bites. When it hits up against this shoulder here, then the taper's not working. Now you got the pressure on that little shoulder right there, which ain't going to do nothing. So you can see how there's no mark on here. When they're nice and shiny in here, that means they're hitting. So I usually like to make sure I can put my thumbnail in there or something in there on my scale. You know, you want to see a 15 thou gap in there if you can get it. If not, you can either cut the shoulder back here or you can cut the flyway here. so it'll lock in. So this one looks okay, which is good. Had some guy just make a phone call or a comment about that on his bike, and I think that's his problem, was this is loose. Find out. When the bike quits moving, the motor's running, you know there's a problem. These are definitely have to be worked on. This I'm going to have to blast all this rust out. Except for being a rebuilt motor, it sure is dirty. How did I get a big mark there? See a big mark down in there? Big piece of chunk of crap in there. I don't know what that is down in there. Camera won't focus on it, but big burr in there. See that big burr? It's been hit with something. Something tried to jam in there. Piece of junk. Big piece of steel. I don't see any evidence on this rod, but well, these things pull apart. These are machined to a square edge right here. They crack, and this whole piece just peels apart. This whole thing will peel out like a finger sticking out. So when I see marks in there, I don't like that. But that one I think will be okay. Damn interruptions. Hello. Not yet, it's the weekend. It'll be Monday before I hear anything, so we'll know more Monday. Okay, bye. Yeah, manufacturers do not work on weekends. They don't contact me during the weekend. Okay, so the rest of this stuff here is looking okay, usable. This should be alright. These are all the small parts in here. The cam shims, I'll reuse those and reshim them. Oops, somebody mixed that stuff all up. Oh, how am I going to put this motor back together now? Oh, geez. That's it, we're going to buy a new motor now. Here's that big fat roller I was talking about. So it goes right across there. See the wear mark? See, it matches the roller, see? And you notice how the shaft shows wear and the roller really doesn't show much wear? Typical. These are a lot harder and better material than those are. But they don't wear much. These wear a lot. Alright, so I think we got to work on that. This part of the shaft here is okay, but it's not so good on this side. Alright, we'll see what he wants to do on these shafts. Figure it out. This is the big thing here, the big oil leak issues here. Like I said, if you don't want to do much of anything to it, the best thing you can do is clean this all up. Mix up a batch of JB weld. Pack it all around in here, around the threads, and tighten it up with that in there. Leave a nice area around the outside nut where it's on it. And if you want, you can smear a little bit in here, but I don't like putting it in here because the plywood's clean everything off. This one you can do a little bit inside, but if you need to. But usually I don't do it. I just pack the piss out of it all over here on this side. Glue them in there and don't ever use them again. They won't leak, but as soon as you break them out to do something, they'll leak. You really don't need them. If you're going to change the oil, you need to adjust the primary chain anyway. To adjust the primary chain on this bike, you have to pull the primary cover off. Tension is right here. Don't have a screw down here like new bikes do. So, when you pull the primary cover off, guess what happens? Oh, all the oil comes out. Duh. So there you go. So whenever you change the oil, you should at least check your primary chain and readjust it. Because you're supposed to do that every few thousand miles, that nobody ever does. So if you change the oil every 5,000 miles, you're a miracle on a Harley. Yeah, but you figure like at least every other motor oil change, you should at least change the tranny oil. But not very many people do that. When it gets too loose, it starts doing stuff like this. It eats up on things. So there you go. Every second oil change in the motor, change the tranny, adjust your primary chain. Simple. That works for any bike. Alright, so that's where we're at on this stuff now. So I'm going to blast all this off, get all this nasty stuff off of here. I clean up all the lung off the sides, so at least now they're semi-clean, but I want to get all this residue off, so I'll blast them clean. Same with the rods, so, and the cases. So everything will be nice and clean next time you see it. Alright, that's it for this one for now.